Welcome in. This is Fantasy Sports 1. I am Brian.
I'm Brennan.
Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Brian and Brennan, as he tried to figure it out. Maybe it's Ron Burgundy. Who knows? But we are here to bring you all the news from the last week. It's training camp season. It's preseason. It's time to start dumping all of this on you, so that's what we've got here for you. Y'all ready to roll? Top one on the books. We've got Tua signing a 4-year extension, $212 million, 167 fully guaranteed. I think he's right fourth or fifth all time on the average right now as far as top paid QBs.
He's top 5 for sure. So,
how you feel about it?
I mean, I don't necessarily hate it for the Dolphins because, like, you're in a spot again. Like, Tua is a competent quarterback who can win you football games. And that's what it matters. Like, quarterbacks don't grow on trees. So, like, Tua would have gotten this money from somebody else. I mean, he knows McDaniel's system. Again, he's not like some flashy quarterback, where he threw for the most yards and he still finishes a QB 12 in fantasy. But regardless, that's real life compared to fantasy. I still think at the end of the day, they made the right decision. I just know if I would have paid that much for me personally.
Dude, that's a lot to pay for a guy that I don't know if he has a top. I mean, I guess in fantasy purposes, I don't think he ever has a top 5 ceiling. But even in NFL, there's so many guys I'd take over to. But you got to pay to get your franchise guy. Look at freaking up there in New York, we've got Daniel Jones getting paid buku bucks. You've got Jared Goff getting paid a lot of money. Who I would pay him top dollar. So you got to pay your guys. We got to see it happen. Do you think this is good for Waddle long term, as far as like just the security being locked up with somebody, whether it not be an elite quarterback?
I think it's great for Waddle, Tyreek, everybody. That's what you're getting out of it. Tyreek's still being taken as the number 2 wide receiver right now. Waddle's still in the top 20. I don't think it changes. I think it makes it very safe and secure for Dynasty.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it too. Just how it solidifies that. It seems like Josh McDaniel now has somebody to Mike McDaniel has somebody to really build around. There was question marks, I feel like, into the offseason. Are they prepared to pay the guy? Is he going to be the quarterback of the future? So I'm excited for a little bit of stability with this team, but it's a lot of money to work around.
That's gonna be the norm, though. If you think about it, like watch when C.J. Stroud saw this contract and was just like salivating. He's like, yes, more. Like all the top quarterbacks who are going to be getting paid here soon, like Brock Purdy, like all those guys are gonna. It's just gonna keep going up and up and up. So,
but yes, Jordan Love got paid as well. Moments. I feel like it was only an hour or so after Tua. It was relatively quick in the evening Saturday. But Love signs a record extension, 4 years, $220 million, $75 million signing bonus, and $155 fully guaranteed. This guy is now tied with Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow as the highest average quarterback. Green Bay, look at them. With them having all, rookie and sophomore wide receivers, or I guess second, third year wide receivers. They've got some money to spend, and they're definitely putting it all in the quarterback spot.
I mean, I don't hate it. I mean, this is the time to go for it with Love because, what's the soonest? Like, Christian Watson will be getting paid in a couple of years if they even want to go that route. Like, Jaden Reed still has 3 years of control. Dontavian Wicks still has 3 years of control. I mean, Romeo Doubs has 2 years, which he's probably a little more likely to get a decent contract from them. It's a smart move for the Packers. Like, you gamble on the player, what he could be, and he could be an MVP this year. Like, it's a possibility. Like, if I said at the end of the year, Brian, Jordan Love was the MVP of the NFL, would you be shocked?
No, not at all. I think we talked about it on the show. We both see him. This offense is easily being top 10, if not higher than that. So Jordan Love can make that happen for sure. He was number 2 in passing touchdowns last year, and that was his first full year starting. So I definitely think we have room to improve this year.
Yeah, so that's why I'm not like too upset with Packers fans shouldn't either. They just wanted this deal done. And so all the Packers fans are super high on this guy, and they should be. He showed tremendous growth from like week 9 on. And I mean, he had one boneheaded pass away from, going to the NFC Championship game.
Which, that's his first, again, it's his first year starting. That's not too bad of a stretch. This team, it's Green Bay. They do a good job drafting. They build their teams well. Jordan Love's in a great situation. Even if he doesn't meet the peak of what this contract is, I still think it's great for all parties involved. Me and Jordan are going to start hanging out more. He's got some spare cash, I hear. So who knows? Who knows what kind of vacations I'll be going on?
It is wild that the Green Bay has gone from Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. Like, Colts, we can't complain as Colts fans because we shot ourselves in the foot with our situation. But still, at the end of the day, it is impressive that they're might have 3 Hall of Famers back to back to back.
So, yeah, we shot ourselves more in the calf, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right, next up on our list, a little bit of a battle going out there in Vegas, which I'm sure everybody really expected. Gardner Minshew got paid above average backup money. AOC, second-year player, and Aiden O'Connell. Seems like they are swapping first-team reps. I see them swapping the starter position a handful of times this season. Gardner, I imagine, will start because it's easier to start with him than put him back in, but I bet Aiden O'Connell finds a way to get Gardner back into the season at the end. But it's going to be a flip-floppy season. Do you have any strong feelings towards one of these?
I think Aiden O'Connell is going to start the year. I think they want Aiden O'Connell to be the starter. I think they're going to try to force that hand because he's on a rookie contract. Gardner Minshew got paid, decent money. I mean, it wasn't expensive money, but it's just decent, like high upside backup quarterback money. And so I think they're going to try to keep Aiden O'Connell in there as long as possible until the wheels fall off, where they're 2-5, 2-6. They're all right, this team still has something there because they have a good defense. Gardner Minshew comes in and hopefully gets, wins some games. But I still think at the end of the day, Aiden O'Connell is a starter week 1.
Do you have any, depending on who's starting, do you have a stronger feel for Devontae Adams or Brock Bowers, some of the pieces in this offense, or do you think they kind of leave you with about the same ceiling?
I think it's the same ceiling at the end of the day. These guys are both pocket passing quarterbacks. They're not going to take points away or yards away from the running back. I just think at the end of the day, what you saw from Michael Pittman. Now, I'm not saying Michael Pittman is Devontae Adams. He's nowhere close, but I still think Devontae Adams will have over 1,000 yards regardless of what other quarterback he has. And I don't know, maybe anywhere from 6 to 10 touchdowns. I don't know if he'll finish as wide receiver 1. I think he'll finish closer to wide receiver 2, but I think I want Devontae Adams as my wide receiver 2 more than my wide receiver 1.
I'm right there with you. I even struggle to take him, in that second round right now. It's hard for me to want to take him there, as my number 1 wide receiver. I don't mind him as my second, but at the same time that I'm just digging that hole later and later to take that next wide receiver, that first running back.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. The only person I'm struggling with is Brock Bowers. He's the one I'm really struggling with in trying to get a grasp of if it is, Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell, are we really expecting even 800 yards out of Brock Bowers? Because Devontae Adams is still there. Jacoby Myers isn't bad. And, they had Michael Mayer last year. I don't know where Brock Bowers fits in. I know they took him 12th overall, and obviously he's a very exciting player. I just don't. It's hard to rank him for my rankings personally.
Yeah, it's tough. I want to have faith in Minshew, thinking that he can replicate similarly to what he was doing in Indianapolis last year. But I think I take a step back and look at that. I think it was all the OC. It was, or not the OC, the head coach. Steichen is an amazing play caller. The situations that he put Minshew in, I think he's a lot better than Getsy, the new OC there in Vegas. So I want to kind of keep that in mind and temper my expectations. This defense finished hot, so maybe the offense is put in some better situations. At the same time, though, it's a backup or sophomore quarterback. So temper expectations with that. What do we have next? Brian Thomas? What'd you find there?
So it's been reported by one of their insiders that he's basically 4th in the pecking order behind Ingram, Christian Kirk, and Gabe Davis. It was reported twice. He doubled down on it. It's the report there, beat writer insider. I'm still drafting Brian Thomas pretty comfortably with where he's going. I still think at the end of the year he'll be the more exciting player for fantasy. I think Christian Kirk's going to be safe. I think Evan Ingram's going to be safe. I think Gabe Davis is still going to be Gabe Davis. I think what you saw with him in Buffalo, where he had those monster weeks of 3 receptions, 100 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and then another week of 2 receptions of 24 yards is what you're going to get out of Gabe Davis, even in Jacksonville.
You started that Gabe Davis sentence like, damn it, Brennan, I'm going to have to make fun of you. Watch what you say. But yeah, he's going to be him. I guarantee you he's got 3-4 really good weeks that we're like so pumped. And that waiver wire activity is just going to disappoint you.
Yeah, I'm right there with that.
Brian Thomas, I'm excited for. I think he's going to be a back half rookie wide receiver, more of the traditional wide receiver breakout that we usually see, you know, that second half of the season versus, you know, some of these guys that just plug into huge volume. That's definitely not him. You know, Christian Kirk has rapport with Trevor Lawrence. We've seen what they can do. Evan Ingram is just blossoming down there. I guess he just had to cool or thaw out. You know, up in New York, he must have just froze there because he's done great in the what do they call it? The geriatric state. Sunshine State. Sunshine State.
The Giants fans are so upset because like he was like so bad after his rookie season. Like they called him brick hands, everything else like that, and then all of a sudden, just night and day difference. So it is crazy to see that transformation.
What else do we have here? Okay, jumping a little bit, but I have to. Ray Davis is competing with the first team. If you don't know, this is the rookie out of Kentucky. He's as old as we are. The dude's in his mid-20s. It's ridiculous how old he is as you know, a freshly drafted rookie. But Buffalo is looking for anybody and everybody to find someone who will run in these goal line touches. I think they found their guy. He's big. He's a bruising fella. He's not quite built how James Cook is, so it's a nice compliment there, and I'm excited. Josh Allen, maybe he can, you know, slow his roll a little bit, quit running the damn ball in there, and hand it off to his teammates. But Ray Davis, redraft, he's going to be one of your back, you know, double-digit round picks, but definitely a guy that I have a lot of exposure to in best ball. A late round fella that could return pretty good, you know, touchdown vulture style.
No, they definitely wanted to run the ball more when their new offensive coordinator took over. I think it's very viable that James Cook is going to be very disappointing because you are going to have to rely heavily on him to get so many touches in between the 20-yard hash lines. Because I don't think when it comes to the goal line package, he will not be a part of it. It's because one, Josh Allen he's a vulture, and they just drafted this guy in the 4th round, and he is a little bit older, but he's a big guy. I think he's meant to go run in between the tackles, and he will probably be the goal line back if I had to guess. So I've been lower on James Cook this season. I think he will be a solid RB2, but I don't think I'll have a very hard time seeing James Cook finish as RB1.
Yeah, right now that's what you're drafting him as, like a low-end RB1, high-end RB2. And at that point, he's not really returning value. Like, if I can get him as a middling to low-end RB2, I think that's where that value shines. But, hey, Ray Davis, the big point about the age, he's already in his prime. We're not waiting till the rookie sophomore season goes by, they get a little older, no, he's been doing this for a while. You know, he's essentially the age of most running backs getting their second contract. But not him, not this guy. He'll be hitting that 30th birthday looking for that second contract. But Ray, all jokes aside, buddy, I'm pumped for you. I'm excited to see what you can do. Find that end zone. What else? Where are we moving to next?
We can talk about the preseason practicing so far. The two of the top wideouts, Jamar Chase is not practicing and CeeDee Lamb is not practicing. Obviously, these guys want their extension. We don't blame them. But it was reported earlier, CeeDee Lamb is close to getting his extension. It's like a 4-year, what was it, $138 million contract?
Yeah, right in there.
Kudos to the Vikings for getting it done first. I mean, it's only going to get more expensive for Cincy. Like, you see these numbers flying around. Like, I don't know why they just do it right now, get it out of the way. But
I don't know
these guys
why
are going to play though.
And Jamar should be a little bit more chill about the situation. With that 5th-year option he has, he should want CeeDee Lamb to go sign first. Because he may not quite get Justin Jefferson money, but he's going to want to beat CeeDee Lamb if CeeDee Lamb doesn't beat Justin Jefferson. So it's an interesting situation. It's annoying as hell. It's not what we like to watch at this time of year. We want to see those guys out there practicing. But, you know, they're great. Is there any reason to discount them at the top of the drafts?
My worry meter is at like out of a 10, it's at like a 1. Like I'm not. I think both these teams realize they need to pay these guys and get it done with. So,
I want to touch on Pittsburgh here because we're getting highlight videos. I know from Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, we are getting highlight videos, folks, but not very many because they have to get rid of all the other footage and just show the couple of good passes. Word around camp is that Russell Wilson is outplaying Justin Fields. I don't think this is a big surprise. Between the experience and his throwing talent is better than Justin Fields. So I think that is what we're going to see. There's a chance we get some Justin Fields this season, but how much are you finding yourself investing in Justin Fields? Like, are you willing to take him as a last pick flyer? Do you want to take him a little sooner to snipe somebody else, or are you just nah?
I have 0% of
Zero.
Justin Fields. Like, I think he might play 1 or 2 games this year, but I mean, again, this is preseason. Everyone looks good in shorts, and if you're not looking good in shorts throwing the football, it's a pretty bad look. So, and Russell's obviously the experienced veteran. I think it's just a little bit more beneficial towards guys like George Pickens if Russell's there. I think he gives them a very safe floor.
I agree. Next up, kind of serious news, if you will. Joe Mixon traded to the Texans in the offseason, dealing with hamstring injury. He's missed several practices over the last week. I'm concerned. I don't like soft tissue issues in August or hell even July. It's just these are things that usually come back, and then when you compound that with the player's age, it scares the crap out of me. So I've been a big fan of Mixon through the offseason, just through best ball summer. I've enjoyed taking him where I could. I think he's in for a good role because he's been efficient his last few years, and I don't know. I'm scared. Where you at?
Maybe they're being a little precautious with him. I mean, I'm hoping that it's nothing super serious. I'll be more concerned if it's like preseason, week 2, and he's still not out there. Like like you said, taking to his age, he's had a lot of carries throughout his career, but he still hasn't finished lower than RB1 when he's played a full season. So I just think when he's on the field, he's very good, but we need him to be on the field first. So I am right there with you. When it comes to hamstring injuries, I try to avoid it. So I'm hoping he can get some practice in and be very consistent for the month of August.
Yeah, they definitely can be
frustrating.
It's just next on the docket, rookie tight end for the Giants, Theo Johnson, had a little issue he had to work through this summer, but he is back at practice and he's earning first-team reps right now. I try to avoid it. I didn't mind the athleticism. I kind of got excited through the dynasty. I've been beating the drum for Bellinger. I just assumed because he is a rookie that Bellinger is going to work his way in. We've seen him shine just enough to where he could be a viable streaming tight end, but I don't know. This is really, I'm tilting as far as this goes. Now it's the Giants tight end room, so you're not tilting very hard. But regardless, I'm wavering between these two at this point.
I have 0 tilt for either of them because I don't think either of them will
touch him. Yeah.
Yeah, like I would highly invest in going somewhere else as fantasy owners. I do like Bellinger. He was like a pretty safe floor. He always got it seemed like 4 receptions, 40 yards, sprinkling a touchdown here and there. Theo Johnson, he's from Penn State, right?
Penn State, yeah.
Yeah, he's a pretty big guy. I think, hopefully he takes over the role. But at the end of the day, if it's anybody with the Giants, it's Malik Neighbors, and it's nobody else for me. Maybe some Devin Singletary, and that's about it.
Hey, when they're triple covering Neighbors, Bellinger's going to be there waiting to catch up the garbage, Scoop that up. Yeah. Next year, we're going to go to Cincinnati. Chase Brown working with the starters. I'm too frustrated to talk about it. Take it away.
Yeah, this is really frustrating. So I saw this tweet a couple of days ago. It's Chase Brown taking first-team reps, and I was like, all right, well, he's familiar with the team. It makes sense. Zach Moss is the new guy. He needs to learn the system. I was just telling myself, I had nothing to sweat. Second day I've seen it, I was like, Chase Brown, second day in a row, taking first-team reps. I'm like, again, it's not even August. We're still talking about this. And then the third day I've seen it, and I'm like, all right, now this is kind of concerning. Why hasn't Zach Moss, the guy you just signed, not to some crazy money, but a decent money, hasn't taken first-team reps? Because I remember very vividly Chase Brown was not a good pass blocker. He was very, very bad. So, I still think Zach Moss is going to be on the field just because he's a very, very good pass blocker. And Zach Moss is a bigger back. So I think when it comes to goal line, he'll be in there. And Chase Brown, I have a feeling this will probably be more so like a 60-40 split, if I had to guess, as it sits right now. I still like Zach Moss this season, though. I'm still drafting him. I think he'll be a very safe floor for an RB2.
As far as snaps go, I could see a 60-40 split. But at the same, when it comes down to it with the carry split, I see that being closer to 70-30, maybe even 80-20. Zach Moss, he will be the guy. Chase Brown is just too small to hold up to that kind of workload, or an extended workload anyway. So I'm still holding on to Zach Moss. If anything, maybe we can get a depreciated cost here, because right now Zach Moss is going ahead of Chase Brown in draft. So if I can get that swap, I'm very into this move still, despite the reports that we're getting. It's end of July, we got time to change stuff. He's going to miss a block, and Joe's going to get freaking nailed. Put Zach Moss right back into that starter spot.
Yeah.
Off to Houston again. We got another player to talk there. Tank Dell, ready for camp. Legs kicking. I guess he had that gunshot wound he was healing over. What was that, May-ish?
Yeah, May.
But Tank Dell, I think we've touched on the Houston wide receivers before. Where's he at when it falls between him, Diggs, and Nico to you?
I mean, for me, he's number 2, but I don't know if you've seen the reports in camp. Stephon Diggs is actually looking like CJ Stroud's like go-to option out of the first read. So all those Nico Collins owners who've taken him in like the early second round in best ball, and where he's projected to go now in redraft leagues, like, I don't know. I can see Stephon Diggs slowly climb up to right behind Nico Collins, and Tank Dell still staying in that like mid to late third round pick. And so I like where Tank's going, though. If you can get who I think will be the number 2 option in that offense where he's at, I like it a lot.
Yeah, I think he's been my favorite because of the price. Nico Collins, I have done a little bit of drafting him in the second round just because it's question marks across the board, but if Stephon Diggs' ADP increases because of all these reports, I'm definitely out. Even if he is the number 1, I just can't see myself wanting to take that risk. It doesn't feel good to me. His age, the situation, new team. We don't usually see old wide receivers switch teams, and it go that well. CJ Stroud, he wasn't supposed to perform well last year anyway. So maybe he's the exception, not the rule. But it's gross. I don't like Diggs. Thank you for bringing that up.
Glad I made your day.
Oh yeah, just freaking great over here, folks. Last little bit of news here. We got to have some fun here. Got to have a little bit of fun. And the Raiders definitely thought they were having fun playing with a Kermit the Frog puppet. You ever heard "Don't poke the bear"? Yeah, that's what they learned, or they're going to learn.
I set a reminder for the week they play to bet the over on every prop bet for Mahomes, just because like I just know that man's going to take it so personally when he goes and plays against them. Like, just expect career game numbers of like 400 yards, 5 touchdowns, and just the endless shit talking from him as well. If there's one person I don't want to make fun of, it's probably the greatest quarterback we're watching play right now. I don't know, just food for thought.
And you have to play him twice.
Yeah, twice too on top of that. So not only is he going to embarrass you once, but he'll do it a second time.
Yeah, he's got an 8-2 record against the Raiders. I know they've gotten cute and won, 2 in the last 3 years or something like that. But
they won last year when he had a flu game, and then it's a divisional game. Even when like we were the best, we lost the Jaguars before. We lost to the Titans when they weren't good. Like teams like that, like will eventually lose to divisional games. You play them twice, you're bound to do that. But I think he hasn't lost to the Broncos, right? Or he did lose once, right?
He might be undefeated against them. I know he's got one team like that where it's some wild stat.
Yeah,
but hey, folks, even a broken watch is right twice a day, something like that. The Raiders will figure it out, but not this year. They dug themselves a grave. Last thing we've got here, Mike Evans talking about going to KC or Houston in the offseason. What is this? A lot of fun that could have been.
Yeah, I think everyone would have had a complete aneurysm if he actually did choose the Chiefs, just because like they just think of like how unfair that would be. And now let me ask you this: if Mike Evans did go to the Chiefs, where would Mike Evans be going in fantasy right now? Like what would his ADP be?
I could see him going at the 1-2 turn, probably right around like that
too.
AJ Brown, Puka Nacua, like right after him. Because right after those guys, that's when we get question marks of like Drake London, Marvin Harrison Jr., stuff like that. So yeah, I think he'd fit in right before that tier of guys. Do I think he'd return it? I don't know necessarily, but I wouldn't be willing to bet against it. I'd take my shots.
I would too. And then if you went to the Texans, I think he would be in the same spot if it was no Stephon Diggs. It was just Nico Collins, Mike Evans, and Tank Dell. I think where he's going would be the same spot too.
Maybe if anything, it'd be easier because, Nico's price would probably go down a little bit, and so would Tank's. Just like that much confidence in Mike Evans. So, way to go, Stephon Diggs. You just threw us a monkey wrench in the whole situation. We won't know until, week 2, week 3?
I guess we'll never know.
I guess we'll never freaking know. All right, well, we got to get out of here, folks. That was your weekly dose of news. We're going to be doing this all preseason, dropping every Tuesday morning for you so that you guys can check out what has been happening if you're not, scrolling Twitter for 24/7. Before we get out of here, Brennan, if you can remember your name or what you're saying, why don't you tell the people, where you at?
So I am on X at FFANBMulk, and then I'm in the Facebook group for Fantasy Football Network, or Fantasy Football Advice Network. I'm in there as well. We do have a competition that we'd like to invite anybody here. It's you comment below, say you're interested. Basically, it's your chance to win $100 against us. How it works is it's a 12-man league, single quarterback, 3 wide receiver, 2 running back, 1 flex, no kicker, 1 defense. We'll have a draft. It'll be a slow draft, but if you're interested, basically the rules, you got to beat me or Brian to the championship. You win it, it's $100 is yours.
That's not a bad gig. So how much are we charging for this league?
Free $99.
Oh, we do love that. We got to love that, folks. If you want to find out more information about that league, come on over to fantasysportsadvicenetwork.com. It's the new platform we just dropped. We're having so much fun. It's all the good of fantasy Twitter and none of the bad. Well, except for my takes. But you got to put up with those regardless because you're watching here. We can't thank you all enough for watching, checking us out. You can find me at @too_much_Brian on Twitter, or again, all over here on the YouTube page where we do Too Much Fantasy Football, Too Much Best Ball, and any of the other shows they let me hop on to. So until then, Brennan, you ready to get out of here?
Yes, sir.
Caught you off guard.